Hi everybody, and thank you for joining us today for our industrial product webinar. My name is Kim Melton and I will be the moderator for today's presentation. Before we dive into introductions with your host, I would like to go through a few logistics. First off, if you have any questions or concerns throughout the webinar, you can submit them to our panel at any point during our presentation via the Q&A feature, and you should see that on the right side of your screen. Now, if you don't see the Q&A feature on the right side of your screen, you will see a series of circles down at the bottom. Click on the one that has the ellipsis in it, that's the 3 little dots, and that will open up a dialog box with a Q&A in it. If you click on that Q&A, it will open it on the right side of your screen. We do have a survey that we'll be following this webinar with, and this is your opportunity to provide us with feedback on how we did today. You can ask any additional questions that you have on the topic, maybe even suggest new topics for webinars that you'd like to hear in the future. So we use this survey because we're continuously striving to improve and evolve our webinars. So if you have any comments or suggestions as to how we can better accomplish this, or maybe even feel like we've missed the mark today, we'd encourage you to fill out the survey and give us your feedback. We want to improve our webinars and provide the information that has the most value to you. Now, the survey is also part of how we deliver the JM experience to you. So the JM experience is based on the 4 pillars of the JM culture, and that's people, passion, perform, and protect. And we believe it's critical to make sure that we hear and understand and respond to your needs in order to deliver the best interaction to you. So we offer webinars like this one to help educate the market and offer a tool and a resource for you and your business. And we understand, though, that's not just a one-way street, and that's why your feedback is a key component to helping us evolve to better meet your needs. Now, we're frequently asked whether or not we send out these presentations upon their conclusion, and while we don't send out the presentation itself, we do post a recording of it online for you to watch at your leisure or share with your colleagues as needed, and this ensures that you can have the presentation within its full context. So, with that, we will dive into some introductions. Joining me today are Micaela Roy and Chad Meyer, who are going to kick us off with an introduction.
Thanks, Kim. My name is Chad Meyer. I am the Midwest Regional Sales Manager for Johns Manville Industrial. I've been with JM for 12 years. I have 12 years in the industry. I started with JM in 2006 on the HVAC and mechanical side and transitioned to the industrial business in 2014.
And I am Micaela Roy. I am the Western Regional Technical Manager. I have been with JM for about 2.5 years, and I'm a chemical engineer. Previously at JM, I was a technical services specialist supporting all of our installation systems divisions, and prior to that, I was a survey management specialist during drilling operations in the oil and gas industry. So with that, let's get started on the framework of insulation. There are many reasons that you should choose insulation, and here highlights a few. Process control, personnel protection, condensation control, and economics are all reasons that should be considered when specifying and using insulation. Choosing an insulation can be difficult since there are so many factors to consider. On the right, you can see a picture of the Johns Manville Product Application Rating Tool, or the PART tool. This tool looks at the physical properties of all the different products we offer to help you choose a product that is most suited for your application based on which design considerations are most important for you. Insulation in general covers a vast temperature range from cryogenic to refractory. Here on the industrial side of JM, we cover the mid to high temperature ranges with our product portfolio. Johns Manville's industrial solutions include many products that will cover a wide variety of applications. We offer Pearlite, calcium silicate, a thin micropores blanket, mineral wool, and a line of accessories. We will start with our calcium silicate. Here in the picture, you can see our new Thermo 1200 product, which has replaced the Thermo 12 Gold. The move to our Thermo 1200 calcium silicate maintained the benefits of our previous Thermo 12 Gold product, including the XOX Corrosion Inhibitor, compressive strength, and consistent thermal performance. The Thermo 1200 is a type 1 calcium silicate that can be used in a wide variety of applications, including pipe and equipment. It still has an impressive compressive strength of about 100 psi and a maximum operating temperature of about 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. You will also notice that this product is water resistant. This came at the request of contractors. When we asked what we could do to make the product better for them to use, this was their response. We tested our new product to determine its water absorption in a moderate to heavy rainstorm. Using national weather data, we exposed Thermo 1200 to about 1.25 inches of rain for 20 minutes, resulting in a water absorption of less than 15%. Making the Thermo 1200 water resistant gave many additional benefits to the product. In the field, if a storm is about to occur and there's a first sign of lightning, everyone needs to move to safety. So we created this product to allow for more time to install the jacketing, which can help improve job site efficiency. However, it is important to note that the jacketing should be installed as soon as possible. So jumping back a few steps, I would like to briefly explain the XOX Corrosion Inhibitor. It has become an integral part of all Johns Manville's calcium silicate and perlite since 2002. It remains dormant until the product meets water. When it does meet water, it can provide a physical protective coating layer on the pipe in addition to pH buffering of corrosive compounds. What's great about the XOX component of the product is that the corrosion inhibiting properties are present for the average life of the system. Johns Manville has done extensive testing for corrosion per ASTM C1617 across all of its products, as well as products currently in the industry. This test is an accelerated representation of corrosion on carbon steel to perform an analysis on industrial insulation for the longevity of corrosion resistance. This test method uses a leachate from insulation materials, which is dripped onto carbon steel, and mass loss is measured. It is referenced back to a standard of DI water. The y-axis on the table is the ratio of mass loss corrosion rate for the insulation material to DI water. This ratio provides a baseline for each insulation material so they can be compared to one another. It is important to note that this method of analysis that we have done is not part of the ASTM procedure. Rather, it is a way for us to convey the data to you in a more concise manner. So when looking at the graph, the higher the ratio, the more corrosive to steel the product is. You will notice the Thermo 1200 is about half the amount the mass loss compared to DI water. So think of the number on top of each bar representing each product as a fraction out of 1, where 1 is DI water. This would make Thermo 1200 have a mass loss corrosion rate of about 43% the mass loss corrosion rate of DI water, which is significantly less corrosive than the pre-2002 Thermo 12 Gold, which has a mass loss corrosion rate of about 7 times that of DI water. So some frequently asked questions we get about calcium silicate. The first one, how long can I leave Thermo 1200 exposed in a rainstorm? What we have tested is that it can be exposed in a moderate to heavy rainstorm for about 20 minutes and show less than 15% mass absorption. However, it should be noted that in industry best practice, the insulation should be jacketed as soon as possible. 2, is all calcium silicate water resistant? The answer is no. The Thermo 1200 is our only calcium silicate product that is water resistant. And then the last one you see on your screen, does the XOX corrosion inhibitor burn off like hydrophobic treatments? No, it does not. The XOX corrosion inhibitor is an integral part of the product and is therefore expected to last the lifetime of the installation. So moving on to Pearlite. Our Pearlite product is the Sprule WR1200, and it comes with some great characteristics. Much like the Thermo 1200, it contains the XOX corrosion inhibitor. It has good compressive strength. It's hydrophobic and will have consistent thermal performance. So you notice that it has a maximum operating temperature of about 1200 degrees Fahrenheit and a compressive strength of about 80 psi. Given that Pearlite is naturally hydrophobic, this product is mainly used on pipes and equipment near large bodies of water. So an example of those types of locations would be the region along the Gulf of Mexico. Let's look at Sprule and Thermo 1200 side by side. You'll notice that they are pretty similar with density. The calcium silicate has a higher compressive strength than Pearlite. You also have to treat Pearlite a little more gingerly than you would calcium silicate. Since the Pearlite has a higher thermal conductivity, you may need to use a larger thickness than you would with calcium silicate in order to meet your process requirements. One final note is that the Sprule is completely hydrophobic, where the Thermo 1200 is only water resistant, meaning it can only shed bulk water. Once again, looking at our mass corrosion rate graph with regards to the Sprule Pearlite, Sprule is an excellent product when considering corrosion. You'll notice that it is only about half the mass loss corrosion rate of DI water at about 46%, making it pretty comparable to our Thermo 1200. Some frequently asked questions on Sprule. Does hydrophobic mean better CUI mitigation? To that, I would say not necessarily. Hydrophobic products are part of the solution to corrosion, but other factors do need to be considered. A hydrophobic product can absolutely help with water intrusion, but as seen on the previous slide, it has a very comparable mass loss corrosion rate to the Thermo 1200. So it's not that it's the best option for CU mitigation, rather you have options for insulation for this purpose. 2, is there a way you can mitigate breakage during transit? Actually, yes. Johns Manville has recently reconfigured its packaging patterns for our Pearlite to reduce the amount of movement and abrasion these products will see during transit. Additionally, there's now a foam insert in the top of the box to further prevent the amount of movement the products will endure during shipping, which will help reduce the amount of breakage you'll see of the products. And then 3, does this rule have the XOX corrosion inhibitor, and does it burn off? Yes, this rule has the XOX corrosion inhibitor, and similar to the Thermo 1200, this is an integral part of the product, so it should last the lifetime of the installation.
Now we're going to move over and talk about Johns Manville's hydrophobic microporous flexible blanket. Insulthin HT is Johns Manville's entry into the thin blanket market. Looking at some of the benefits or features of the Insulthin HT product, it is ideal for space constraints. It has a low corrosive potential. It's hydrophobic, it has consistent thermal performance, and it is a very good choice for hybrid systems. Looking at some of the performance for the Insulthin HT, it is good to a maximum continuous use operating temperature of 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. It is hydrophobic. It is available in a couple of thicknesses, 5 millimeter and 10 millimeter, also in 36-inch wide or 60-inch wide. It is also not subject to something we call thermal shift. So what is thermal shift? Thermal shift is going to be the permanent change of an insulation material's thermal conductivity due to exposure to high temperatures. Currently, it has only been observed in tested silica aerogel insulations. So what risk does that run? Well, a couple of risks that I've been able to identify is, 1, you might not be able to hit your personnel safety target. Typically, that's 140 degrees exterior jacket temperature. You might not get the thermal performance that you have designed for the system, and you could see excessive heat and energy loss that was not factored in the design phase. So let's look at some K-curve charts. On the left, you're going to see tested silica aerogel. On the right, you're going to see Insulthin HT. So let's look at the example on the right, the Insulthin HT. On that graph, we're going to see 3 lines. So the first line, being the purple line, is going to be the ASTM maximum for the Insulthin product. And then we're going to see 2 overlapping lines, first one being a blue line, the second one being the red. The first line, the blue line, is going to be a first test cycle for the C518 test, and that is going to be testing for K values. We're going to take it from ambient, ramp it up to about 900 degrees, testing for K value along the way. The red line, the second line, is going to be a second test cycle for the same test, the C518. Ideally, we'd like to see those lines overlap, and as you can see on the Insulthin K-curve chart, those lines overlap very well. Now let's look at the tested silica aerogel K-curve chart. First thing to point out is there's also 3 lines. The gray line that we see on there is going to be the ASTM maximum. The blue line is going to be our first test cycle, and the orange line is going to be the second test cycle. The first thing we've noticed on the blue line, the sample did exceed the ASTM maximum. And then when we tested the second cycle, we noticed a change. The K-curves did not overlap. So what happened? Upon further analysis, we noted that when the tested silica aerogel specimen was exposed to high heat and the hydrophobic agent oxidized and burned off the product, the cellular structure tends to become friable and crack open. What this does is degrade the air void space in the blanket, causing this change. Something to point out is this is a one-time change. And the big takeaway from looking at this is when you have that product exposed to higher temperatures, you want to design for that second cycle line to be able to maximize your system. Something we're seeing specified more and more are what we like to call hybrid systems. So a hybrid system is going to be the combination of 2 products. In this case, the Insulthin HT and the calcium silicate. What engineers have noticed is that going just with the thin blanket products, very good K values, but tend to be on the higher cost spectrum. So by combining 2 products like the Insulthin HT and the calcium silicate, we get what we like to refer to as the best of both worlds. So you get the compression strength and the XOX corrosion inhibitor, the CalCil, along with the benefits of the low K values of the Insulthin HT product. What this does is potentially may yield a system that is less costly than just using Insulthin HT alone, while giving a middle of the road thickness for your jacket. So areas where you need to maximize the outer diameter of your jacket, the hybrid system may be a good option for you. Let's look at the corrosive potential of Insulthin HT. We've seen this chart a couple times today. So the Insulthin HT there, we've got the circle around it. Again, as Micaela said, if we think of DI water as 1 in this example, and we measure the Insulthin HT against that DI water, we're going to see that Insulthin HT is about 51% as corrosive as DI water. And as we look at this chart, it's going to round out the top 3 there on the list. Some of the FAQs that we get when talking to customers and engineers about Insulthin HT are, where would I use the Insulthin HT, or why would I use the Insulthin HT instead of a molded product? The Insulthin HT is great for those areas where space is constrained. So you have a very tight pipe rack where you cannot get the thickness needed with traditional insulations. Insulthin HT is a great option. The other 2 places where we typically see Insulthin HT used over a molded product is going to be a large tank or a vessel. Going to get a little bit more of an installation efficiency using the blanket product over a molded product. The last question that we tend to get is, how do we handle elbows and fittings? If you would like, fittings can be manufactured on site, but Johns Manville offers pre-manufactured elbows, 90-degree elbows, that we can ship to your job site in what I like to call kitted up. So they would be numbered with layers 1, 2, 3, and so forth. So when you get them on site, you know exactly what needs to be installed first, second, and third.
All right, let's move on to mineral wool. Mineral wool in general has great characteristics associated with it. It has great acoustical performance. It's inherently non-combustible. It offers consistent thermal performance, lightweight, and can be made to minimize job site storage. And I'll touch on that a little bit later. You see here that we offer many different forms of mineral wool, including pipe, wrap, boards, bats, and blankets. You will see our Manville 1200 line can come in a variety of densities and has a maximum operating temperature of around 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. For acoustics, it has a noise reduction coefficient, or an NRC rating, of about 0.95 to 1, which is essentially the fraction of sound absorbed versus sound reflected. So as an example, the 0.95 NRC rating, that essentially means that 95% of the sound it comes into contact with will be absorbed, and the remaining 5% would be reflected back out. On this slide, you will see our pipe products that are offered. We have our Manville 1200 pipe, which is mandrel wound, and our Manville 1200 preformed pipe, which is V-grooved, but formed at the plant before shipping. The Manville 1200 field form and the precision cut are both V-groove boards that will ship flat, which will optimize storage on the job site. The difference between the 2 is that the field form product has an adhesive in the grooves and can be formed on site. For boards and bats, we have our industrial board and industrial bat. Both come in a variety of densities and thicknesses. The boards are typically used in flat ducts and cavities, while the bats can be used in cylindrical ducts, turbines, and large diameter vessels. For blankets, we have 3 types. The first is pipe and tank wrap. This product is foil-faced and acts as a continuous layer of insulation around equipment and vessels. The next one is the lamella tank wrap. It's made from segments of mineral wool and is held in place by a facing. This product can also be used on equipment and vessels. The last is a metal mesh blanket. This product is a mineral wool blanket that is reinforced with a wide selection of metal meshes. This product is typically used in high vibration and high temperature environments. So back to this slide one last time to look at corrosion mass losses of mineral wool. The results of the C1617 test show that the mineral wool board is about 1.85 times as corrosive as DI water, where the other 2 products that we tested came out to about 4 to 7 times that of DI water. So in looking at the data, you can see there's a lot of variability on the mass loss corrosion rate in mineral wool across the board. So to summarize what you see here, you notice that the Thermo 1200, the Spool Pearlite, and the Insulthin HT greatly outperform all other products we tested. And although mineral wool did not prove to be one of the best with corrosion, the board insulation showed to be less corrosive than the other mineral wool products tested. One concept I would like to point out is binder burnout. The binder is essentially what holds all of the insulation fibers together in place. In mineral wool, the binder burnout typically begins around the 350-degree range. The good news, your thermal performance is not compromised. The bad news, without the binder, the compressive strength of the product is compromised. So let's look at some examples of binder burnout. You'll see the picture on the left is when the pipes insulated with mineral wool was used as a walkway. Obviously, that's not supposed to happen given the fact that mineral wool has a very small compressive strength to begin with. You can see that the jacketing is pretty severely damaged, which could result in personnel safety with the safe to touch with a surface temperature of about 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And it would allow for water to get into the system, which could result in corrosion. The picture on the right shows what happens when binder burnout occurs in a vibrating environment. The product has fallen, and you would never know because you wouldn't be able to see it. Again, personnel safety could be a consequence, and the pipe would not be insulated as needed for your process control. Some FAQs for mineral wool. What's the best temperature range for mineral wool? As discussed previously, mineral wool has a maximum operating temperature of about 1,200 degrees, but binder burnout should be considered when you're looking at operating temperatures around 350 to 450 degrees. And then 2, can mineral wool be made hydrophobic? Due to its porous nature, it cannot be made hydrophobic. However, there is a movement in the industry to lean towards water-resistant mineral wool or water-repellent mineral wool, and it's something that Johns Manville is currently considering for its mineral wool product line.
Now let's talk about a couple of the accessories that Johns Manville offers. So you'll see here we offer a few accessories for the industrial product line. First one being our Inselcoat product. Inselcoat is an exterior weather protective coating for insulating tanks and process equipment. We also offer our CalBond. Our CalBond is silicate-based adhesive. It's great for fittings for mineral wool or Pearlite. And we also offer our CalCoat 127. CalCoat 127 is a finishing cement to smooth over any voids or varies or anything like that in the product for a nice finished exterior.
Great, thank you, Chad. So we moved through that pretty quickly. Right now I'm going to go through a couple of additional resources that we have for anybody who's looking for more information about products or maybe in a specific industry topic like CUI or something along those lines. First and foremost is we have an online resource called The Source, and this is a portal where we house all of our webinars, blogs, product documents, training, tools, etc. And on here, you'll see that, if we start looking at our blogs, we both write and curate the content for our blogs. So we not only rely on our own technical experts at JM, but we're also finding information from technical experts throughout the industry. Our blogs hit on targeted technical information, the latest news in the industry, scientific details that are critical to successful installation, system design, that sort of thing. And we strive to make this content as rich and relevant as possible so that it can better serve you in the information that you need and that you're looking for. Now, there's also a full library of technical documentation, and this is basically technical bulletins, white papers, product application guides. If you're looking for highly technical information, this is a great resource, and we strongly encourage you to start here. In the tools section, you'll find tools like NAMA's 3E Plus tool, and this is a unique one in that it will give you the specific numbers that you need for your application, specifically for JM products. So if you know you want to specify, let's say, Thermo 1200, you download the NAMA 3E Plus tool from our website and enter your application requirements there, and then it would actually give you the numbers and the thickness you need of JM installation specifically. We also have a Smart Binder app, and this is a tool where you can download all of our, you download the app to your phone, and you actually get access to all of our data sheets and SDSs right there on your phone. So if you're on a job site somewhere and you don't have internet access, you will have immediate access to the data sheets anyway. And then finally, our product application rating tool, and Micaela mentioned this earlier, and basically this tool allows you to weight the importance of certain characteristics of an insulation, for example, compressive strength or hydrophobicity, per the needs of your application. So you might say, this is out of 1 to 5, this is a score of 5, this is the most important to me, 1, this is the least important. And it's going to compare all of our products side by side based off of your material requirements, and it will give you an answer as to what material might be best for your application. And then finally, our webinars, just like this one today, we record all of them and post them online, and this is where you'll find them. And we have a variety of topics in here, for everything from acoustics to CUI to even metal jacketing. And that's actually where you're going to find today's webinar as well. Now, if you're looking for the source online, you can go to our industrial page, and there's two ways to access it. First, you'll see a variety of links there on the left, and that'll take you, the links we've circled will take you specifically to either the tools, the technical documents, or the webinars on demand. It'll take you to the tab on that page. If you want to go directly to the source homepage, you can actually access it through the column on the right menu there, down there at the bottom. You'll see it, and it just says the source. And as we said, there will be a recording of today's webinar posted online, and then for everyone who attended today, you will get a certificate of completion. And this will be sent to you directly via email by Friday. So with that, we're going to take it into some questions. Again, if you have any questions, you can submit them via the Q&A feature on the right side of your screen. So the first question we have is, Chad, I'll hand this one to you, and that is, do you have installation instructions for Insulin HT?
Yes, we have installation instructions for the Insulin HT product. I believe you should be able to find them via the industrial section of our website. If not, you can contact your regional sales manager, and we would be more than happy to discuss the installation procedures with you, and or, if need be, come out and do a product demo for you.
Excellent, thank you. Micaela, I'll hand this next one to you, and that is, can I use products that aren't JM products as part of a hybrid system with Insulin HT?
You can. However, when we advertise our hybrid systems, especially with our very own Thermo 1200 Gold as that first layer, you get that benefit of the XOX Corrosion Inhibitor, which will provide you a lot of benefits, especially when you're trying to mitigate CUI. So the answer is you can, but just look at the benefits you're getting from each product to make an informed decision.
The next question is also for you, and that is, does JM offer any water repellent mineral wool?
So we are beginning to move in that direction, and I believe we will be having something along those lines around the beginning of the new year. But great, it will only be mandrel wound pipe. Excellent.
Chad, the next one is for you, and that is, what is the best product for acoustical noise reduction?
Well, Kim, I would say that would probably depend on your application. It would most likely be a mineral wool product, but depending on the application, it could be board, it could be flex bat, or maybe even pipe itself. Just, it's all going to be application dependent.
Great. Micaela, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
I will say that fibrous insulations are probably the best option when you're looking for acoustical control. So any of our mineral wool products would be excellent for that. As I mentioned earlier regarding NRC ratings or noise reduction coefficients, the mineral wool products that we offer have pretty high noise reduction coefficients of about 1 or so. So if you're choosing a fibrous insulation, you'd be getting some decent acoustical control.
Great, thank you. Chad, this next one is for you. Do you guys sell any jacketing?
We currently do not sell any jacketing.
All right, great. That wraps up our questions for today. There were a couple that came through that we actually weren't able to get to directly, so we will reach out to you privately afterward. And if you have any other questions that maybe you think of after we close out of the presentation today, you can actually submit those to us via the survey, and we'll respond to you directly. So thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate it and hope you found this webinar helpful. This will be posted online next week, and your certificates of completion will be sent to you by Friday. Thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your week.